friends, it's Meg. I'm back. It is Friday night after the first week of essentially quarantine because of the coronavirus. We're all getting a little stir crazy. Maybe you are too. It's 5:30 in the afternoon and it's happy hour time. Anyway, we thought we would make something that we could share with you. So we are going to make pizza, and not just any pizza, but homemade pizza. We're gonna mix up the dough. We have all the ingredients already in our house. We don't even have to go to the store to try and get them. And we will assemble it and put it in our oven and bake it, and it's gonna be delicious. And I think you'll really like it. Pizza is something that Steve and I actually kind of bonded over when we very first met. He invited me over to his place for dinner, and he had on his front stoop in DC, in Washington DC, in Columbia Heights, this gas pizza oven thing. And I was, as you might imagine, quite smitten because here was a guy who took pizza seriously, and I had experimented with making pizza on my own, and he took it to a whole new level. And so we've had a lot of fun over the past couple of years experimenting with pizza doughs, making them from scratch, working on techniques for making the dough and for cooking the pizza. And we have arrived on something that seems like it works pretty well. It's pretty predictable and reliable, so that's what we're gonna share with you. So the first thing we're gonna do is take another sip of wine. And then we all have to wash our hands. So let's get started. Make a big show of washing my hands, which I would of course be doing anyway. And I know you would too. I want everyone to know that I am adhering to both food safety and World Health pandemic standards. All right, we're gonna mix up the dough for the pizza. This is a recipe that I have come across and I find it works really well. So here's what's in it. We are going to measure by weight, not by volume. And we're gonna do it in grams because that's how the recipe is. 153 grams of all-purpose flour. This is all-purpose, unbleached. All right, close enough, 154. Then we do the same amount of this stuff. This is double zero or double aught. It's finer and it's Italian, so we use it. I'm just gonna pour out of this. 153 grams, 153 grams, 154. 154 is close to 153. We need a teaspoon of salt. And we're gonna mix that up lightly with this gizmo. I need to thank Aunt Kathy for this too. Aunt Kathy hooks me up with the best gizmos in the kitchen. Then we're gonna take 220 grams of lukewarm water. Not too hot or you'll kill the yeast. 220 grams of lukewarm water. So warm but not so hot that it hurts. I think it's roughly a cup, but let's see what it ends up being. 200 and, oop. And into this water, we're gonna stir about a teaspoon of olive oil. Let's just eyeball that. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of active dry yeast. We have it on good authority that yeast is in short supply at the grocery store because everybody's a bread baker this week. The flour aisle was decimated. I love that people are trying new things, and I think it's great, but I hope that you will follow instruction from qualified bakers who already know how to do this stuff. But I think it's great. So you stir that together. You pour it into the flour and salt. And we mix. And we're gonna mix it all in to incorporate all the flour. This hook is really handy because it sort of helps, it makes it go a little faster. You could use a wooden spoon, you could use your hands. I am sure that all the old ladies in Italy, may they all stay safe from the coronavirus. I'm sure they don't use a hook, I'm sure they all use their hands, but this is what we're using. And once you get it almost mixed, then we are going to dump this out and we are going to knead it for about 3 minutes. Let's have a sip of wine first. It's happy hour. Might have to add a little bit of flour so that it's not sticky. I think there's some mystique about kneading bread and everyone wants to make no knead bread. I don't know why, because it's not hard, it's not difficult, but you just have to do it. It takes a little bit of extra time. Let's put some flour on there. Bit. Bench scraper, I should have had that out before. Scrape it up. Okay, we have kneaded this for about 3 minutes. We're gonna form it with a little flour down so it doesn't stick. Form it into a ball, and it needs to rest for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna knead it some more. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
We live in remarkable times. This dough has sat for 15 minutes. We let it sit to let the gluten, gluten's developing. The gluten is developing, so they say. It gets softer, the flour hydrates, and the dough just kind of comes together. Now we're gonna knead it again for a few minutes. So you knead it for a second round of 3 minutes. Then we're going to divide it into 2 balls, and it's going to sit until it roughly doubles. The recipe that I use says 2 to 4 hours, but the reality is it doesn't take that long. So we're going to just put a little flour. I'm going to tuck it into a little ball. A little flour on the top. Look at that. Let's do this one. Just sort of tuck it under like that. A nice round ball. Little flour on the top. And then we are going to let it sit until it doubles. Okay, cover it with plastic. Cover it with a towel. And go practice social distancing for an hour. And maybe drink a little bit of wine too. We'll be right back. The dough is soft and pliable, and what we want to do is slowly pat it out into a circle that's maybe 12 inches wide. So you can stretch it. You've probably seen videos where those pizza guys do this funny thing where they toss it back and forth. I will put it on my fist and just gently stretch it, and you sort of let the weight of it pull it out so that it stretches thin in the middle, but you want to keep an edge on the outside. So here, what do we have here? That looks pretty good. So it's not a huge pizza. It's a 1 or 2 person size pizza. But this is a nice stretchy texture of dough. That's about right. You can do a little edge, a little lip if you want to. You don't really have to. I'm gonna make sure there's enough flour under it so that it slides off of here and onto the pizza peel. Okay. Now let's put a little bit of marinara sauce on it. We got this at, I'll do a plug for A. Laterri. It's an old and wonderful Italian grocer in DC. We love it there. This is their house marinara. Worth the trip. Look at those chunky tomatoes. So we're gonna spread a little bit. I don't like a lot of sauce, I just do a little bit more. So what's that, 3 tablespoons? Almost to the edge. I like oregano. I like dried oregano on my pizza. So I know there's a little bit of spices in the sauce, but I'm gonna put a good amount of oregano on here. Then cheese. We have shredded mozzarella. This is a handful. That's a cup, I guess. Roughly a cup. You do not want to overload your pizza because it will be soggy and gross, and nobody has time for that. And let's throw some pepperoni on it, because we like pepperoni. Cured meats are going to be increasingly important as we all retreat to living in our homes during this extended pandemic public health crisis. There's some pepperoni. And then I found these are fresh mozzarella cheese balls that are like packaged 3 to a thing for a snack pack, but I'm gonna use just a few of these and just rip them in half, tear them up. Let's do one more. See if I'm just sprinkle a little bit of cornmeal on here to help facilitate getting this onto the peel. Oh. There it goes. Okay. All right. I'm gonna make sure there's a little bit under here because we're gonna just dump this off. So our oven is preheated to what, 500 degrees, 550?
550.
550 degrees.
Highest temperature your oven can go.
Yeah, it's an electric oven, so that's all we can get indoors. If we had a pizza oven, a legit pizza oven, it would be higher, but we're gonna do 550 and we're gonna make sure, so watch this. It has to slide because we're gonna slide it right off and onto a pizza stone, which has been preheating in that oven for almost an hour. And here we go. Here we go. Whoop. There it is. And that's gonna bake for, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes. We're 5.5 minutes into cooking this pizza, 5:45 actually, and it's all bubbling, so we're just waiting for the cheese to cook a little bit. The crust is rising and getting a little bubbly around the outside, which is fabulous. I think these are gonna be really good. Quarantine pizza night in the house. Look at that. This is cooked for almost 7 minutes and it looks like it's perfect. So let's take a look. Oh yeah. So I cheat, I use tongs. I guess real Italian people can just flip it onto the peel with their wrist, but I'm not a real Italian person, so. So we're gonna let it cool for a minute or two and then we'll slice it up and eat it. Oh, there's the timer. But meanwhile, Steve wants to show you how he makes his pizza because we have one more ball of dough to turn into a pizza.
Every time I make a pizza, I'm very particular about it. I have very specific kinds of understandings about it, but as anal as I can be about making the pizza, I still think Meg's is better. So, given that, I'm going to tell you how I do it. And one thing that I have is I have this cool little thing called the super peel. You can find it at all the places you can buy things like this, but it actually has like a, check it out, it has a pastry cloth built onto it, and I'll show you how it works. It's awesome.
Are you sick?
No, I'm not sick. I don't think so.
Do you have a fever?
No, definitely no fever.
Did you wash your hands?
I got the fever for some cowbell.
Did you wash your hands?
Yeah. I've been washing my hands more than I've ever washed them in my entire life. Check this out. So one thing they talk about when you're making good bread is the window pane test. You're supposed to be able to stretch the dough until it like gets thin enough that you can see through it, which we can with this. So it's pretty awesome. So I still feel like I need a little bit more flour on here, but we're getting close because we're not making big pizzas. These are little pizzas. But it's the way I'm stretching the dough here. I'm not really leaving a lip around the edge like Meg does, but it's thinner in the middle and thicker around the edge. So I want to take that. Where's that spoon you had? That little. I also think that too much sauce is bad. Cool. Okay, and then we're going to throw a little cheese on. It's very much the same. Oh, you know what though? We're going to go a little spicier. We're going to throw a little olive oil, do a little salt. And we're going to go with a little bit of oregano. And then we put some cheese on. I am not worried about the cool cheese that Meg put on her pizza. I just have the ordinary cheese. I'm going to throw some copious amounts of pepperoni on here. And I like to cover it pretty well because you like pepperoni too. I like it, so why not have lots of it? Sometimes you can put some Parmesan on the cheese. I like that. It's cool, kind of cool. Whether that's like the green shaker cheese or if you have some fancy stuff, helps spice it up a little bit, give it a little bit more flavor. We're just going to do this right now. And now I'm going to show you how my cool peel operates. Okay, watch this. So we take this bar, we move it down here, and then we just put it at the edge. We don't have to put any, we just like tractor it up. I mean, isn't that awesome? We do that, right? 7 minutes, perfecto. So this is the favorite part.
Should we
when
try
get to eat it. Let's try it.
You try yours.
Oh gosh, mine's still too hot.
It's
I want
too
to try
hot?
yours.
Okay, all right, try a piece.
Okay.
So this one has kind of a bubble on it. kind of a bubble. Let's see what it looks like before I bite into it.
Oh my god.
The bubble.
Show them.
There's a bubble.
Look at the bubbles. We love the bubbles.
Okay. It's not Napolitano. It's not like the perfect, you know, like what you would get out, but it's darn good. And we just occupied ourselves for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, making pizza, drinking wine, in quarantine times. Social distancing. We don't have to social distance because we are in the same household.
But if you got all this extra time that we're all supposed to have, I don't know about you, but I've been working harder this week than like for the last 3 months. But when we have all this extra time, why not use it making pizza like this?
Right. Everyone says it takes a long time to make. And it does take a little bit of time because you do have to let the dough rise. But once the dough rises...
What are you doing while the dough rises?
Tonight, drinking
Nothing,
wine and talking. Like we ate some you know, sausage and cheese and crackers.
Listen to some jazz.
It was real good. Why don't we do this every night?
We pretty much do.
All right. That's it. From here, you should like and subscribe, and please tell a friend, because we're actually trying to get these videos out to people because we would like more people to watch them because we have fun making them.
Because
and we want to
we
share
have
it with
something we're excited about, and we want to share with everybody because we think everybody should be just as excited as we are. So, you know, share it.
you. So good. Thanks for watching. Wash your hands. Stay well.
Eat pizza.